Yeah. What is up? Welcome. I'm your host. I'm Will Bryant. I almost said it out of just fucking pure instinct and repetition, but I didn't. I caught myself. Didn't say it. It's a new show. It's a new day. Cheers. For those of y'all not watching, I am drinking something new today. It's Grolsch Premium Pilsner, made in the Netherlands, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, I always announce what I'm drinking, like you guys. Do you guys care what I'm drinking ever? Do you guys care about me at all? Tell me you care about me. Show me you care about me somehow. I just got back from buying a box, like a case of 24 beers, Heineken from the deli, and I feel like they saw a sucker coming. I feel like I got fleeced a little bit. Actually, I remember going to this deli months ago with a couple of friends of mine, Teddy and Cole, I think, were with me. And they pulled out the box and told us the price, and Cole was like, nah, veto, next place. And sometimes you need someone like that, I guess, because today I completely forgot about that until it was too late. And they pulled out the 24 case. And by the way, it was just a box, like a cardboard box that was delivered to them. So it wasn't like an official 24 pack of Heineken. It was like 4 6-packs in a cardboard Heineken box. And I bought that and this 4-pack here of Grolsch, which is a little bit bigger than a regular size that comes in a 6-pack. And it came out to $76, and they don't take card. Like, Jesus, work with me a little bit. So I had to go to their ATM to take out cash to pay for beer that I felt like was a lot. Jesus. I forgot to plug in my phone. That shit is dying. My phone, that's how I record. That's how professional I am. Hopefully I'll upgrade from that sooner rather than later. Also battling my mic at the same time. I'm kind of recording this one on the fly a little bit because I'm headed to, I guess, my friend's giving later today as I record this. I'm pretty much dressed and ready to go as Val is cooking the whatever she's bringing for today. I think it's 2 types of potatoes. I didn't cook shit, so I'm just bringing a ton of beer, which brings me back to what I was just doing. $76 for 24 Heinekens and 4 nice-sized Grolsch. So I was doing the math for a while. I'm going to say it was $60 for the Heineken and $16 for this 4-pack. That's what I'm going to say. So $15 a 6-pack, basically. It feels like a lot, but it also makes sense. So I don't know. Maybe I didn't get fleeced. 100% if I bought a 24-pack at a fucking BJ's or something, it'd be a lot less, right? It'd be like $30, I bet. Maybe. I don't know. I bet Cole is listening to this just cringing like, oh, you paid that much, you idiot. He's always good to have around to not overpay in a situation if you don't have to. So yeah, I'm recording this with not much time to spare. In honor to get to Friendsgiving. Chanel is hosting this one. I didn't know if I was gonna have off till like a week ago. If I didn't have off, I gave away my shift, but whatever. Last Sunday, the 19th, was actually my mom's birthday. Typical mom too. Like I had class last Sunday, my comedy class. And I called her the day before and then the day of to just make sure she was home. She was going to be home. And she's like, don't worry. Just don't come over. It's too far. Don't bother yourself. Like, such a mom thing to say when it's your birthday. But, yeah, I definitely made the trip out there after class. Class, by the way, going pretty well. I mentioned last episode, I think I have my 5 minutes. I actually probably have more than that. Just got to cut some down. There's no class this week, Thanksgiving weekend. So today is Saturday. There's no class for me tomorrow. So we meet again next Sunday, and by then I should pretty much have edited my stuff down to the 5 minutes and be able to give a nice, tight, succinct 5-minute performance of my shit. Come next class. And then, I'll have some some more critiques, comments, suggestions, and I'll take that and pretty much start putting the finishing touches on what I will end up performing December 10th. That day is, it's coming soon. So after class, it actually the one thing that I thought was pretty good for my ego a little bit in a positive way, not in a narcissistic way, I promise. Is a couple of people have gone out of their way to say good things about specific parts of my set, not just like, hey, good job overall. No, like they're talking about like specific, like, oh, that joke there, that premise there, like blah. They're encouraging words is what I'll say about it, at least, So I think that's a good boost for my own self-confidence, I guess, a little bit, as I go into that performance on the 10th. The good thing is I'm at least feeling positive every time I leave class. I'm not leaving class thinking, Jesus Christ, this is going to be a disaster. I was listening to a podcast today where this comedian, this guy has been in the business for decades, Todd Barry, kind of a New York legend, talked about how, was it Todd Barry that was saying this? No, actually, I'm lying. Even though that podcast with Todd Barry was very interesting, this was actually David Cross, another comedian. He came out of Florida, I think, anyways. Or is that not Todd Barry? Whatever. David Cross, you guys might know him as Tobias Funke from Arrested Development. He started off as a comedian. And he said something along the lines of how the first time he ever went up for anything, like an open mic or whatever, he did really well. And he had this like feeling of, well, this is what I'm meant to do. This is what I'm really, I'm obviously good at it, So I'll give it a go. And then he just bombed like the next 35 times. And that resonated with me because I actually think that that's exactly what I'm going to end up going through here in the very beginning of my comedic career. Uh, I do think that the first show at the Comedy Cellar is going to be a fun and positive experience. Because I think that for the most part, the crowd, it's a friends and family crowd, so the crowd is all there to support the people on stage. I think that's a little bit of and I don't mean this in a derogatory, negative way. It's a little bit of a cheat, a little bit of a hack in favor of us on stage, in favor of us performing that night or day, because we have some control over the crowd, and it will be a pretty supportive crowd, if I'm not mistaken. So I could see that happening with me. I could see my first time going well, and then every time I go on any type of stage after that for a long time, not going nearly as well, and in many cases perhaps even bombing. So I'm kind of just getting my head wrapped around that, my heart ready for it. Because if there's anything I've heard from comedians, it's you gotta bomb to figure shit out, you know. So that was my overall feelings at it when I was done with class last Sunday, and I hit up. That was on my mom's birthday, so I was done by 3. Hit her up. She told me not to bother because the trip from Manhattan to Queens is too far. I was like, shut up. I didn't tell her to shut up, but I told her I'd be there in about an hour and a half, anyways. So yeah, I visited my folks in Flushing, Queens, where I grew up. It's weird when, for me at least, um, and I wonder if you guys have ever felt this way when you no longer live in the place that you grew up and you return. It's this weird mix of a familiar feeling while simultaneously feeling that it's not the same, if that makes sense. Or there's some things I feel when I go back and visit my parents, like I can't help but feel this. I can't help but think if it was always this, like cramped or tight. Like I don't know. I walk in there and I feel like I have just less room to move around. Perhaps that's some of that can be attributed to my mother's underlying symptoms of a hoarder. She gets mad when I call her a hoarder too. She's not terrible. Like she would never make it on a TLC show, but definitely has a problem with just throwing shit out. That's for sure. But yeah, I walk in there and it's, I guess it's similar to like when you walk into your old room and you have this feeling of how it used to be bigger. Or maybe you're visiting a family member's house that you remember from your childhood and you haven't been there in a while. And now that you're back, you have this idea of like, wow, I thought that backyard was bigger. I thought the living room was bigger. I thought the TV was bigger. I thought my aunt was bigger. I feel that a little bit, I guess. I feel it a good amount when I go back and visit my parents. It definitely feels like it's not my place anymore. So yeah, I visited my parents. I didn't know if I was gonna order food for them to eat at home or if I was gonna take them out for dinner. I wanted to take them out for dinner. That was my preference, and I knew it'd be my mom's preference too. However, I just wasn't sure if my father would be up for it or able to do it. Reason being, his health isn't exactly. Uh, he's not doing too well right now, unfortunately. He can't walk without the help of a walker, and even then, someone should probably be nearby, if not right next to him. He's lost a lot of weight, and I I saw immediately that if I were to take my parents out for dinner, it would require some work, and I don't know. I thought he looked so frail that I was like, I think we should just use this wheelchair. Apparently, they got this wheelchair and never used it. When I got there, they were using it to hold mom's old boxes of Avon shit that she thinks she can still sell one day, even though she hasn't worked for Avon in about 12 years. Not a hoarder, though, guys, in case you were wondering. So I said, well, I'm here, so I could definitely just push him around in this wheelchair. Because he can't push, he can't wheel himself, and my mom, I mean, she's she's getting up there in age too. Her memory is not that great too. Like we'll have conversations where she'll ask me something, and then a couple of minutes later she'll ask me the same thing. Very reminiscent of conversations I used to have with my grandmother. So I asked the two of them. I was like, well, I'll let you guys decide if you think you're up for going outside, which apparently my dad hasn't done in months, then we can go somewhere nearby, easy, nothing crazy. Yeah, I'll pay for the Uber to and from, and so we decided to do it. We in Flushing, there's really not that many options. For like a nice, easy dine out experience that are super close, especially if you're not trying to do something Asian. And yeah, if my dad's a pretty picky eater, and I'm sure my mom on her birthday to go out living in Flushing would probably appreciate not having to do something Asian, which she's surrounded by 365 days a year. She likes Chinese food, but obviously it's really easy to get around there. So, I know that Applebee's isn't exactly fine dining, but it was the only thing I could think of that was close. And like by close, I mean like less than a 10-minute drive, if And I didn't want to go somewhere and have us be like the only people sitting there, which is my fear of like just looking up something random on Yelp or Seamless or something like that. So I was like, for sure there are going to be people at Applebee's on a Sunday night when the Jets are playing and getting their ass kicked, of course. So I got the Uber that allows wheelchairs to and from Applebee's. Val met us there after she watched that new Hunger Games movie that she hated, apparently. I remember there was this one point where we were walking into Applebee's and I was rolling my dad in. My mom just like started like clapping and like just going yee, and I was like, what? Yeah, what's up? What was that? She was like, I'm just so happy to finally be out of the house. And my mom was like cheerfully, like gleefully cheering and clapping as we were walking towards Applebee's in Fresh Meadows, Queens. And she was so happy. It's the simple things, right? Yeah, I'm realizing, because I don't get home that often. I probably hadn't been home in a couple of months before that. And truthfully, my dad's health uh, recently, this past year, it is quite different, almost like month to month. Unfortunately, it's he's lost a lot of weight very quickly. He's lost the ability to walk very quickly. I mean, just last year at this time, he was probably 20, 25 pounds heavier, and only needed the walker every now and then. I remember a couple of years back, I took him to an AEW show with all my friends. Keith was there. Uh, Lenny was there. Teddy was there. Martin. I took my brother. Um, and it was tough to get him around then. That would be, unless I had ground level, like floor level seats, and didn't have to go up any stairs at all or anything like that, or need any elevators, like it would be nearly impossible to do that now. Um, so glad I did it back then. Glad I got that memory in. But they don't go out much. In fact, there was this one point where we were getting him dressed and ready to go out, which in and of itself is a little bit of an ordeal. Um, I definitely had moments where I'm like, how is my mom, who is not exactly, she's no spring chicken, let's say that, how is she doing this every day on a daily basis? Like, um, yeah, it was a jarring visit to my parents, to say the least. Uh, I was we were deciding what jacket my father should wear, and he was like, "No, I don't need a jacket. It's warm outside," and it absolutely was not warm outside at all. And I was like, "Pops, it's November. It's winter," and he's like, "Oh, he hadn't been out since it was warm." Uh, he doesn't like walk the dog. He can't walk the dog. And here's the thing: my dad's still an avid cigarette smoker, so he just smokes like in the house, in the bathroom, shit like that. It's not good. Apologies for this less than perhaps not so lighthearted episode. This was just my weekend, and it's a reality of mine that I'm going through right now. So I've been pretty open and honest on this shit. So this is as simple as I can put my weekend recap. He thought it was like still warm outside, and I was like, "No, we need a jacket," Um, that's how long it had been since they had been out. My mom can't really get out much either, so she was just so happy to just fucking be out and go into Applebee's. It was not an easy night, but a fun night regardless. Even just a simple meal at Applebee's with my parents and my girl. It was good. It was fun, and it was I had taken my dad to the bathroom. Also not the easiest thing in Applebee's. So I would wheel him in, wheel him out, and the one thing about wheeling your older pops around in a wheelchair is that everyone around you just starts to like move shit for you, and it's like everyone is the Red Sea that Moses parts. People will hold open doors for you and shit. I'm like, this is nice. At least there's that. There was this like porter at Applebee's, older Hispanic gentleman, not as old as my pops, way younger, but let's say in his 50s. And he was like cleaning the bathroom at a moment where I had to take my pops to the bathroom, which I think was at least 4 or 5 times. Like it was a lot. But He opens the door and he sees me pushing, wheeling my old pops in. And he opens the door. He goes, oh, God bless you. God bless you. And I was like, oh, thank you. And I wanted to be like, my dad does, he's not that religious, you know? So, and if you're blessing me, I might be right there with him. But, you know, whatever, I'll take it. I also had this moment where I was like, oh, we're that bad. You know, like if you're, if you're just, if someone's opening the door for you to get into the bathroom and they just start fucking blessing you, you're like, oh shit, things are not going well. Is it that bad? Fucking this guy's mopping piss and shit off a toilet and comes out, opens the door, sees us and goes, oh, God bless you guys. God damn. Too dark, too macabre. Nah, whatever. I made it my goal to just try to make my parents laugh that night. And, you know, they did. We had a good time. That was last Sunday, the 19th. This week, I'm surprised how many people don't, because at this new gig that I have, I've been here 6 months almost, pretty much. I was working in the cafe Wednesday night, and I told people, I was like, I wonder how it's going to be here, because at every other bar that I have worked at, Wednesday night, the night before Thanksgiving, tends to be one of the busiest and craziest drinking nights of the entire year. And I was a little surprised at how many of my coworkers were surprised to hear that. And I was like, nah, it's like St. Patrick's Day and Thanksgiving Eve. If you know Thursday, Thanksgiving, you're about to spend hours with your family members, and perhaps not all of them, if any, are cool. And, you know, some might even be annoying. And, you know, you might have to have a beer or two or a wine or two or something in the process to just be able to enjoy yourself and entertain yourself. But you don't want to get trashed in front of your family, right? Unless you have that type of family. Who knows? If you do, mazel tov. So there's a lot of people that have that Monday through Friday 9 to 5 job that don't have work Thursday because it's fucking Thanksgiving. And you're about to be with family all day. So if there's no work the next day and you have to be with family and behave tomorrow, why not get fucked up and misbehave today? That's what the Wednesday before Thanksgiving is all about. I remember one Wednesday before Thanksgiving, me and my motley crew of friends decided to go to I think it was a Laid Back Luke show in Atlantic City. And we drove there on a Wednesday evening, as apparently my girlfriend is drilling a hole in the kitchen. We drove to Atlantic City, a bunch of us, like 3 cars. And I remember we got a call. One of our friends in the other car is calling. They're like, yo, I think so-and-so Lewis didn't know that there was a dress code. He brought like a t-shirt and jeans, and everyone was like, what an idiot. We're going to Atlantic City and everything is like button-ups and shoes and whatnot. And he was like, oh, I got to go buy like some clothes. We're driving from Queens to Atlantic City. And on the highway, we're getting a call that Lewis has to go buy some fucking clothes to get into the club. And somehow between all of the dudes that were going in 3 different cars, we all called each other and all of us had an extra item of clothing, roughly his size, including fucking shoes, that we could use to just piece together an outfit to get him in. And he actually looked fucking good. Like it wasn't like he walked in there looking like a thrift shop clown getting into an Atlantic City club. He looked good. That also reminds me of the first time that I went to Atlantic City for one of these shows. I went with Cole, my financial advisor, who would normally get me out of bad beer deals. I went with, I forgot what code name I gave her. So I'll just say some other friend. And let's just say a bunch of friends. We all went to Atlantic City. And Cole, same thing. He didn't have like a nice outfit to get into to Harrah's pool club at night. I forgot who we were seeing that night, but I did bring an outfit for the night, but I still had my outfit from the night before, which was my like dressed down outfit. And it was like this denim, like button down, and he might have used his own pants, I think, but at least the denim button down. But like it's funny because we have pictures of that whole weekend where like on the pictures earlier on in the weekend, I have this shirt on, and then the pictures later on in the weekend, he has the same fucking shirt on, but wearing it completely different. Like I had my sleeves rolled up, I had my buttons kind of undone, looking all more open and relaxed. He took it, he rolled the sleeves all the way down, buttoned it up to the wrist, buttoned every single button all the way up to his neck. If there was a button on that shirt, he made sure to button it up. But it's also funny that we have pictures of an entire weekend in Atlantic City, and one shirt is constant in all of the pictures. We just share fucking clothes. I feel like it's happened again. Did we do that again in Vegas? Did you need clothes in Vegas at some point? I don't know. It's good because there was a time where we were definitely not the same size, but we definitely can like alternate clothes now. I can alternate clothes with a lot of people. Male or female. Ooh, I finished one of these Grolsches. Let's go on to the next one. Look how you open this. Ready? It's with this little... It's the Grolsch with that, like, pop open top that looks like you're opening up an old school bottle of milk. Woo! You like that? That was nice. Didn't know that was going to happen. So... As I was saying, some Wednesday nights can be... Oh, yeah. One of these Wednesday nights, we were going to Atlantic City. That whole thing happened. We had to check out of the hotel Thursday morning, Thanksgiving morning, and we were all like, yeah, no problem. We'll all fucking get fucked up in Atlantic City. Like, fucked up. And the next morning, we'll drive back 3 cars and somehow drop off 15 different people in different locations so that we can all make it back to our families in time for Thanksgiving. Needless to say, didn't happen very fucking well. It did not go smoothly. All right, let's just say we were getting calls. Different people were getting calls from different family members, and that car wasn't even crossing the bridge yet. Like, where the fuck are you guys? Well, some of us are still coming down from what we took last night, but we're on some bridge. It's not moving very well, but we're on a bridge at the very least. A bridge? The fuck? My parents, by the way, I was not getting these calls. I heard these calls happening to my left and to my right. My parents are always just happy if I showed up sometime. You know, I think that's the benefits of being an only child. Because if I had siblings, like for sure they would do better than me. I know what you're thinking. Better at you than what? Everything. Just fucking all of it. If I had siblings, they would win. Again, you're probably asking, win in what? Just everything. Life, Monopoly, By the way, I'm not just listing board games. The first one, I didn't mean the board game life. I didn't mean the game of life. I mean literally life. Like our life. The life we live. They would win. They beat me. I would lose. But then also, if we played the board game Monopoly, for sure I would lose in that too. I still don't know the right rules to play Monopoly, so how the fuck would I win? We were cutting it close with that Wednesday night trip to AC. But anyways, it happens in bars in New York too. People cut loose Wednesday nights. Especially if, some people fucking cook during the afternoon, go out at night, get fucked up at the bar, go home, grab their food, and then go out to see their family the next day. Wednesday night, Thanksgiving Eve, man, those are some crazy nights bartending. Not so much at the Olive Tree Cafe because it's more of a cafe than it is a bar. But it got busier towards the end with a lot of the comics. But it was different. It was not as crazy. Good. I mean, I probably would have made more money if it was crazy, but I guess I kept more of my sanity that it wasn't. I remember working at the Diddy in Astoria where it fucking did get... That place got crazy on a Tuesday. Towards the end of my time there at the Diddy, I would do Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. And I would remember after a Friday night or a Saturday night shift, if I saw my coworker Jared the next day, who also worked the night before, towards the end he would get out a little bit earlier than me, and he'd be like, "How was last night? How was the rest of the night?" I'd be like, crazy, good, all that shit. And, with this like understanding nod, he'd be like, "Well, hopefully the money was good, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course. Always was." And we'd have this moment where, I honestly forgot if it was him that said it to me or me that said it to him. So I'm not going to take ownership of this one. And if he remembers saying it to me, then he's got, this is like that fish sticks joke in South Park. But we would say to each other that we would feel like, do you remember in Avengers, Infinity War or Endgame, whatever, whichever one it was, after Thanos did exactly what he set out to do, someone would ask him, like, what did it cost? It's like, was it worth it? Yes. What did it cost? And he was just like, everything. We'd look at each other after one of these crazy nights and be like, well, the money was good, right? Yeah. It's like, but what did it cost? Everything. And Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, that was one of those shifts. What did it cost? You'd make good money, but what did it cost? Everything. You guys on the other side of the bar have no idea how rough, how fucking annoying, and how ruthless you guys can be to us on the other side serving these drinks up. You guys are rough, man. And you know what? So many of you guys think that you're fucking awesome and you're being cool and you're being funny and you're being good tippers. And you know what? You're not most of the time for all of those things. You're not. I'm laughing to just make this thing less awkward when you say something. You're not being fucking hilarious. Shut up and move on. Well, when you think you're tipping well, you're probably not. But I'll say thank you anyways. And so shut up and move on. just mostly shut up and move on. That's my advice when you're at a bar. Just mostly just shut up and move on. The amount of you guys that are actually funny and actually tipping well, few and far between. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Actually, going back to that Applebee's thing, the server came back and thanked us, thanked the entire table for our generosity. And I remember this moment where Val looks at the server and goes, "Oh yeah, no problem. You're welcome. You're welcome." And the server like nods and walks away. And Val's like, "What was that about?" And I was like, "Oh, the tip." She's like, "Oh, how much did you tip her?" And I was like, it was nice. And I had this moment where I was like, Val just took credit for my tip. I paid for the dinner. I tipped for the dinner. The server comes back, thanks us for the tip, and Val's like, "You're welcome. You're welcome. No problem." Server walks away. What was that about? Who are you to "you're welcome" somebody if you have no idea what they're talking about? The audacity. I let it go because I'm still that chemist in the lab, making sure nothing blows up. It reminded me of that episode of Seinfeld where George and his girlfriend go to the diner and they get Jerry's girlfriend of the week. They get Elaine a big salad because that's what she likes, the big salad. And when they get back to Jerry's apartment, George's girlfriend hands Elaine the big salad. Elaine thanks her and she says, "You're welcome." And George notices this, clocks this. And then they go on having their day, and George brings it up later on the cab ride home. And of course, being George Costanza, everything blows up in his face. He gets dumped, and next time he sees Elaine, he gets mad at her because you had to have the big salad. Now I know how he feels. Because that night, I put down my card. I signed, put down the tip. She came back. I was helping my dad into his wheelchair. The waitress came back. The server came back. Just put out an open thank you to the table. My mom, she was like, "I don't know the fuck. Who is this woman? Who is this? Was that our server?" My dad didn't even realize what was going on. He was like, "Oh, Jet's really getting their ass kicked." I'm like, yeah. And Val goes, "You're welcome." I mean, I said you're welcome too, but like, Val looked really proud. She was like, "You're very welcome. You absolutely, you killed it." What? Are you talking to me? Do you hear me? Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Were you talking to me? I heard you. Were you talking to me?
No, are you Kopi?
No, I'm not Kopi. Because I'm talking about you right now, so I thought you were...
No, but I heard you throwing bottle caps on the floor.
I did. How can I throw a bottle cap when the bottle caps are connected to the bottle?
What the fuck are you throwing that? Something you're throwing.
No, look, do you guys see that the bottle caps are connected to the bottle? And she says, "I'm throwing bottle caps around."
Oh, you're just throwing it around the bottle then. Don't throw bottle caps.
That is a situation, ladies and gentlemen, of where I just can't win. She said, first of all, I also was wrong. She wasn't talking to me. She was talking to the cat. But I thought she was talking to me because I was definitely talking about her. She was like, "Hey, don't throw bottle caps on the floor." Hello. I paid up for this cap because it is connected to the bottle. Okay? It's impossible for me to throw bottle caps today. It's all right. Calm down, Will. Calm down. We're supposed to get picked up by Dave today and head over to this Friendsgiving, but Dave told us last night he was going to be here at 4. Then he said, no, I'm going to tell myself 3, though, because I know I'm going to be late, but I'll probably not end up leaving until 3 anyways. Which, I mean, honestly, if Dave's here by 4, I would be shocked. We'll see how that goes. Wednesday night, not that crazy. But here's the thing. I had to work the very next night downstairs in the cellar. It's actually the first time in my life that I've ever had to work on Thanksgiving. I thought that was a little bit of a bummer. I've heard, I don't know if it's like fact or what, fact or fiction. I've heard if you work Thanksgiving at the Comedy Cellar that chances are you might have Christmas off. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. I probably could have gotten someone to cover me for Thanksgiving, but I was afraid that would be held against me come Christmas time. And if I had to choose a day off between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I'm choosing Christmas 10 times out of 10 because it is my birthday. So thing is, I'm going to try to get off the 24th and 25th and 26th. I can't request them off. They're going to be blocked off, but let's see if I can finagle some things with some coworkers. So I worked Thanksgiving. I felt bad because I wasn't doing something for Thanksgiving. That meant that my parents weren't going to really do something for Thanksgiving. They just stayed home too. So that was a little bit of a bummer. I felt bad about that. Last Thanksgiving they came over, and we did something. It was pretty much just the two of them and me and Val, if I'm not mistaken. But I've had them over for Friendsgiving too. We've hosted Friendsgiving the past 3 years in a row, and the last at least 2, maybe even 3. No, last 2 years I think I've invited my parents to it. My mom's always surprised that I'm able to pull it off. She was like, how you guys even gonna cook a turkey? And fucking my boy Dave comes through deep frying not 1 but 2 turkeys in the backyard for the past 2 years in a row. He's deep frying a turkey right now at his crib before he comes to pick us up right now. Yeah, we dumbasses fucking got deep frying turkeys done without a problem. Me and Val would buy the turkey. We'd brine it ourselves 24 hours before. It would brine for the entire 24 hours. I would actually I bought a syringe where I would inject butter into the turkey to plump it up and juice it up. And then Dave would come over the next day before anyone would come through for Friendsgiving. And we'd start drinking and pop 2 turkeys. He'd literally be able to cook 2 turkeys before like most people would get there. People that had to come through with like easier dishes would get there late, while Dave already had 2 turkeys ready to go. It's not that hard when you're not an idiot. You see all these people doing it wrong. You dip a turkey in, and listen, you don't fill the fucking thing up with oil to the top, because when you dip in the turkey, the oil will overflow. So don't be that stupid. That's really it, dude. Oh, and don't put it in frozen. That's also a no-no. Absolutely not. You follow those 2 rules, you should be just fine. But there's so many stupid idiots out there. Well, we pulled it off. The first year I had to buy 2 like fire extinguishers and fireproof gloves because Val was so afraid we were going to burn like the place down, even though we were going to do it in our backyard. And obviously we didn't need any of that because we're still good. We're still alive. The next year, I think Dave was doing it like barehanded while smoking a joint with the other hand. We got very cavalier about it the very next year. I say I didn't do shit besides provide the space for it. This year he's doing it inside his crib. So if next week I have a permanent co-host because he needs somewhere to crash for like 6 months while his apartment gets reconstructed from fire damage, then you'll know that it did not go very well. I worked Thanksgiving. And it's the first time I didn't spend Thanksgiving with my family. And it felt shitty for a little bit, but there's one thing I gotta say. The Cellar does do Thanksgiving dinner right. I heard last year they had like 6 to 8 turkeys cooked. This year it was probably something similar to that. I didn't see them all because I was busy setting up the bar for the showcases, the shows that later that night. The cafe was closed to the public. It was just staff and comedians that were able to go in and enjoy Thanksgiving dinner. And downstairs in the cellar, we had 3 shows going on Thanksgiving night. So I was setting up the bar. I was bartending for the 3 shows. Me and my buddy Dylan. And so I stacked up a nice plate. Dude, dope turkey, but also like every side that you would want from Thanksgiving, was available buffet style. It was the first time. I even took some green bean casserole, which I've never had, and I was like, I might not like this, but I want to try everything that they have to offer. Dude, that shit was awesome too. It was the first time I've ever had sweet potatoes where, like, there was a tray of sweet potatoes, and the top of it was on top of the sweet potatoes was a layer of marshmallows that they put like. It came out of the oven, so the top layer was like toasted marshmallows on top of the sweet potatoes. It was so good, dude. That was nuts. Of course, the classics like stuffing, mac and cheese, mashed potatoes. There was some Brussels sprouts dish that had something else on it that was really awesome, and probably some bacon in there too. I forgot. I had a hell of a plate. Unfortunately, I had to go right back down to the bar and continue setting up for the shows. So I actually never sat down. Like, they set up a huge table with like fucking probably 50 seats in the middle of the cafe for everyone to sit down and have like a Thanksgiving dinner with people around you. It's cool because there's a lot of people. You gotta remember, it's fucking New York City. So a lot of my coworkers, a lot of the comedians, they are not from New York City. They don't have their family around. So they don't have, they wouldn't have that type of dinner if it weren't for the Cellar, which is why I think the Cellar goes really hard at going all out for Thanksgiving, and shutting down the cafe to the public for the entire day because they just leave the entire buffet out for like the entire evening. And, by the end of that night, there was not one leftover, bro. Like, that shit got cleaned out. I was bummed out because I didn't get any desserts. I thought I'd always like have a chance to come back upstairs and get like some pies or macaroons or chocolates, and I just never got my chance to get out of there. And it's all good because I ate so much, man. I ate so it was a good meal because I imagine having Thanksgiving dinner and then having to work 3 bartending shifts for 3 shows it's all one shift, but 3 shows back to back at the Cellar. And shoot, if I was home, I might have fucking gone to sleep on the couch, but I felt good, man. And honestly, maybe because I didn't have those desserts, I was able to stay awake and not feel too fucked up. You know what was weird, though, is I always walk from the Cellar, which is the Greenwich Village area. I walk from there to the Union Square area to take the train, the L train, so that I don't have to take any transfers. I just walk to the L train, take the L train home, and walk 2 blocks home. If I took a train right from work, I'd have to take like the A, C, or E to Union Square and then take the L. And honestly, I know that there'll be times that I can hit everything perfectly, but I just don't want to. So much can go wrong taking one train and having to wait for one transfer that I just want to take that out of the equation and I'll just walk to Union Square, dude. It's like a 15-minute walk maybe from the cellar to Union Square, and then I take the L home. And taking that walk from the cellar to Union Square on, at 3 a.m, Thanksgiving night, that was the most. That was the most like desolate that walk has ever been for me. That was the quietest and almost the most alone that I have felt making that walk. And I don't know why, but like my mind was kind of like messing with me a little bit during that walk. Mind you, completely sober. I guess smoking a joint, but like, no drinking all night long. I thought about going to a bar after work, and I was like, fuck it, I don't have work tomorrow morning. Tomorrow at all. But I was like, nah, just get home. Save your money, get home. And I started having like these weird thoughts where like I noticed and I realized that there are so many people that don't celebrate Thanksgiving, and I'm here being sad that I'm not with people on Thanksgiving. And there was this moment where I just felt like it was a bit trivial, the holiday in and of itself, or the celebrating of holidays in general. Because you know what, like I didn't celebrate Halloween this week or this year, and I didn't have any desire to, and I was working Halloween weekend and Halloween night in one of the areas of New York that goes the hardest for Halloween, right where the parade was. And I just felt like, wow, this is such a big deal for so many other people, but it's not for me. And I felt like this almost liberating feeling of like, I didn't have to worry about dressing up, what I'm going to do. Is it going to be any fun? Is my night going to be ruined? Whatever. I felt almost liberated from like, wow, I remember when I did give that much of a fuck about Halloween, and I don't right now. And hey, maybe I will next year or a year or two from now, whatever. But this year I don't. And I actually feel good about the fact that I don't. And so I walked home on Thanksgiving, and I was searching for that, like, feel positive that you didn't celebrate tonight or whatever, but it didn't come for me during that walk. If anything, I was like, instead more almost existentially questioning the idea of holidays in general. Like, if I don't make it a big deal, is it a big deal at all? And that thought, like, it's because like I came from a family that made Thanksgiving a huge deal. Christmas was a huge deal. We got together in one person's house, and it was 30 to 40 of us together under one roof. And now it's just not that anymore. It doesn't happen anymore. And, COVID didn't help that at all either. So the past couple of years, if I don't host something for my parents, there's basically nothing going on for them. And now I've realized that it's kind of up to me. And here I am working on Thanksgiving and wasn't able to make anything happen for them. So I was a little down on myself that walk home. Here we go. Going to open this up again. Woo! Kind of satisfying. I started realizing, I guess the holidays are what you choose to make it. What you need out of it, I guess. I'm not giving up on holidays. I'm not going to let the fact that I have to work one really get me too down. The next day, a Black Friday, I just stayed home. And I did nothing except like positive stuff. What did I do? I drank beer. I smoked weed. And me and my girl put up our Christmas tree. and we chilled with our cats the entire night. And that sounds like an awesome time for me. It's like I said, the simple things. Like my mom loves a night out at Applebee's because she doesn't really get to feel that, experience that too much anymore. You know what? After a sad walk home through downtown Manhattan at 3 a.m. on Thanksgiving night, it's kind of uplifting for the very next day to start putting up a Christmas tree, and just kind of just start making yourself feel nice and warm and cozy and loved, you know. And we had I had a really great day yesterday. I felt. Funny enough, what did we watch while we put up the tree? Something like nice and wholesome? Nah. We put on episode 4 of Invincible on Amazon Prime. That show where Steven Yeun plays the title character in a Robert Kirkland cartoon about the graphic novel. That shit is brutal and fucking awesome, and I'm so happy my girl decided to watch that with me. I was watching that during season 1, and I was like, you should watch this cartoon with me. She was like, nah, no thanks. I watched the whole season. And then she started watching other cartoons with me, like Young Justice and shit like that, and enjoying it. And I was like, you've got to give Invincible a chance. And she was like, all right, like now that you've gotten me into more comic shit, you've even gotten me into some cartoon shit, fine, I'll give this a chance. And I was like, yes. And I rewatched the entire first season with her so that she could watch it again. And she was hooked hard, where she was waiting for season 2 really intently. And it's here. We're watching it on a weekly basis, and we watched episode 4 while putting up a tree, literally. And she was cooking us like our own little Thanksgiving dinner last night, which was fucking awesome. And I was like, what are we gonna watch, for dinner? She was like, you said Blue Beetle was out on HBO Max. And I was like, yes. I love fucking Marvel and DC shit. And I forgot about it. And I don't want to give too many spoilers about Blue Beetle, but there's something emotional that goes down with the family that at one point while we were watching it, I started crying like a baby. And Val turned around and saw me, and she just just started hugging me, because it unfortunately reminded me of just I didn't say this last night, but I think she knew right away. Something goes on in the movie that just reminded me of the state that my father is in currently. And I just think I had have a lot of emotions about my father and his health right now, just right here on the surface, like just ready to burst. And I'm just going through this little internal battle of dealing with it without, without bursting at the seams too much. And we're watching this movie last night, and I burst at the seams a little bit. And it you're going through something when fucking Blue Beetle makes you cry like a baby. So I guess I'm going through it a little bit, but I feel all right. I feel like I'm ready. I'm ready to deal with it. So Blue Beetle was a little heavy for me, oddly enough. I still enjoyed the shit out of that movie. I don't know what the fuck's going on with that. Yeah, maybe I think that's why I was sad about Thanksgiving. Is I remember the family gatherings. I remember feeling like the love, and it's different now. But I'm realizing I kind of have to just create that for myself, cultivate it for myself and for the people around me, and hopefully I'll be able to create something for Christmas later on this year. And last year Christmas was dope. I had a great time. It was the most close knit Christmas I had spent. It was just me, my girl, and my parents, and it was actually like a great time. They came over for Christmas Eve. We watched movies Christmas Eve. We drank. We ate really well, and the next morning, we ate something completely different, also really well. Awesome breakfast. And opened up gifts. I forgot. Did we do it Christmas night or Christmas Eve night or Christmas morning? I think we might have done both, actually. We did a little bit Christmas Eve and then the rest Christmas morning. And yeah, my parents spent the night, and we had a Christmas like morning. I remember I had a Knicks one. I have a Knicks one. That's what makes me laugh that I remember Knicks one. But yeah, it's point being. I was very happy and proud in a way that I was able to help in the creation of that moment in some way. Cultivate it a little bit. Because I've unfortunately now realized firsthand, if I'm busy on one of these holidays, they're probably not going to have anything to do because, like I said, our family, we're just not there anymore. You know, we don't all meet up at one person's house anymore. We're all splintered out, you know. Once the elder generation started passing on, every nuclear house started doing their own thing. And, you know, I am the only child. I am the nuclear house now, I guess. So hopefully I'll be able to provide another memory on Christmas for us. I wasn't able to do it for Thanksgiving, but it was my mom herself, in the most motherly way, that told me not to worry about it because just days earlier, we were able to go out for her birthday, and she wasn't able to experience something like that for a long time, and that you know, she made sure that I knew that was pretty much because of me. So shout out to moms being able to make you smile. So honestly, that's pretty much all I got. If you guys were with family on Thanksgiving, appreciate that. And you know, just goddamn, I don't know. Tight hugs for family whenever you see them. This is my pregame for Friendsgiving. It's 2:20. Let's see how long it takes for Dave to get here. Besides that, I'm pretty much done. I appreciate you guys for listening to me. I'm sorry that this wasn't exactly the most I don't know, funny, uplifting, lighthearted episode. But you know what? Not all of these have been in the past. And I just appreciate you guys for listening, for I don't know, being there. And that's pretty much all I've got, man. Do me a favor. Follow me wherever you can. If you're not, like, review, subscribe, all that shit, whatever. It's the same thing on every platform at I'm Will Bryant on Instagram, Twitter, or X, Twitch, Threads, Spotify, YouTube. It's all the same. 3 words. I'm Will Bryant. Bryant. Like Kobe. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Until next time. Peace.